Hello, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Ebony, and today we are getting into what I spent in the month of March and then doing our budgeting for the month of April. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. Every month, I feel like I struggle with budgeting, and I say every month as if I've been doing this for years, and I'm only on month 3 of reviewing my budget. I started budgeting with a template and doing these weekly money dates in January, and I've learned so much, but I'm still struggling. So let's start with our essential expenses. So up first, for rent, which includes water, trash, and renter's insurance, I spent $1,665, bringing me under budget by $35. And then for groceries, I'm super proud of this one because, as you know, if you've seen any of my other videos, I have been struggling with my groceries. And well, in particular, for the month of February, I really struggled. But for March, I came in at $316.16, which means I am $83.84 under budget. And then for transportation, I spent $165.19, which sent me $40.19 over budget. And if you're keeping up with anything that's going on in the United States right now, our gas prices are astronomical. So I'm just gonna leave that there. And then for pets, I did not budget this appropriately. I did not factor in all the things for my pets restock this month. So I spent $132.93 and I went over budget by $57.93. This includes their litter restock, food restock, also pet insurance, and I just did not calculate all of that when I was working on March. I don't know. I guess, yeah, it is what it is. Utilities, I budgeted $120 and I came in at $88.66. And then for health and wellness, I budgeted $125 and I came in at $64.30. I came in under budget for this one because I did not get to explore those recovery and wellness things that I was sharing in my last video. So I didn't go to cryotherapy, I didn't go dry needling, I didn't try an infrared sauna out. I didn't do any of those things. So we're gonna revisit that for April. And then for self-improvement, I didn't budget anything, so I didn't spend anything. And then for household, I budgeted $50 and I spent $62.99, which sent me over budget by $12.99. And so my total expenses for my essentials came out to $2,495.23. So let's move into the non-essentials. And this is where we always have the most fun and we always have the most read. And the month of March is no different. Let's hop right in. So restaurants, I budgeted $100. I came in at $163.80. And just a little caveat here, I was on track up until last night. My boyfriend and I decided to go out for dinner last night. We just wanted to enjoy the warm weather and us having a mutual day off, and I wanted to treat us, so we went to grab burgers from Harriet's. And if you know about Harriet's here in Charlotte, they're kind of pricey. And so yeah, I went over budget by $63.80, but you can't put a price on quality time, right? And then for entertainment, I budgeted $75, but I actually didn't spend anything. And then for subscriptions, I budgeted $80 and came in at $17.07. $62.93 under budget, so that's great to hear. For the month of February, I think I shared that I turned off my Netflix subscription and my Epidemic Sound subscriptions because I wasn't really using them. And then I found out today that Netflix is actually going up significantly on their prices again. So right now, I'm not missing my Netflix subscription. And then moving into shopping, I budgeted $40, but I came in at $63.99. So I went over by $23.99. I got a couple of things for my upcoming trip in May. And then for travel, every time I budgeted $1,095. And that's because I knew I had my credit card fee, annual fee coming out. And I also knew I needed to buy flights for the World Cup to Florida. And so I came in at $1,325.04. And that sent me $230.04 over budget. Unfortunately for me, I could plan for the annual fee, but I could not plan for my flights. I really was hoping to be able to use my credit card reward points, but I could not find a good redemption. And so I ended up paying cash for my flight. And I think for Miami, it ended up being about $430. And yeah, we won't, yeah. So moving on to self-care and maintenance, I budgeted $240. I knew for the month of March, I wanted to treat myself to 2 of 3 services. So that was a facial, a massage, or getting my hair done. I opted for getting a facial and getting my hair done, which came in at $297.45. So I was over by $57.45. That's because I do have a monthly subscription for my facials, but I upgraded to a chemical peel this go around, and so I just had to pay the difference. And then for coffee, this is one that I did not account for when I was making my March budget because I was still deciding on how I wanted to calculate my coffee. So this came in at $50.28, but I also included here my bean restock for the month, or for about 2 months maybe, and then also some coffees out. And then I decided that going forward, I am just going to calculate my coffee budget as like to include beans, any coffees out as well. And then for beauty, this one I definitely went over. I knew what I needed at the beginning of the month, but I decided to treat myself to something. So I budgeted $50 and I came in at $144.78, but I can name what I purchased. I got deodorant, a brow pencil, a nail polish, and a milky toner from Ilia. I've only been using it for a week, so it's too soon to report on how it's doing, if it was worth the $60. But for gifts, I did not budget anything because I didn't have anything going on, but one of my coworkers at work had a family emergency, so a couple of us decided to get together and contribute to a gift card for dinner for her and her husband, and so that came out to $25 for my portion. And then for miscellaneous, I budgeted $50, and this is an item that I feel as though I was robbed. I paid for my taxes to be filed, and that was $113, and I felt like with the categories I had, miscellaneous was just the best place to stick it. And I guess I just didn't think about filing taxes this month, or I guess I just didn't think it would be this much. Honestly, the fact that you have to pay to file taxes, but you don't have to pay, and they don't have to pay you to take the money out of your paycheck every month or every week or however often you get paid, is a scam, but whatever. So that brings my total non-essentials to $2,241 for a combined total of $4,695.64 for expenses. And then I'm proud of me because I was able to contribute money to both my savings and my investments. So for savings, I contributed $1,610. I had only planned to contribute $700, but I was able to get a bonus at work, which I'm so grateful for, very grateful for. And then for my investments, I was supposed to do $600 for my Roth IRA in order to max out for 2025 and then start my contributions for 2026. But somehow I calculated wrong or transferred wrong, where I only came in at $599, but whatever, only under by $1. So I'm super happy with these numbers. I'm very proud of myself for seeing my bonus and deciding to invest it or save it instead. So let's get into budgeting for April. We're going to do a little bit of changes here for our essentials. We're going to keep rent the same at $1,700. We are going to challenge ourselves because we did so well in March. For April, I'm going to challenge myself to $385 for groceries. Because of the changes of what's going on with gas right now, I decided to make that budget $175. And then for pets, I'm looking at around $65. I expect just pet insurance to come out for April, but I may try to see if I can get a vet visit in April, but we will see how that goes. And then for utilities, $100. Health and wellness, we're going to try $125 again, and then nothing for self-improvement, and then $50 for household. And then for my non-essentials, we are keeping our restaurants at $100. For entertainment and hobbies, we'll keep that at $75. For subscriptions, I decreased it down to $60 based on how much I spent last month. And then for shopping, so I have a couple of projects around the house that I want to do. I'm also considering if I should split up my shopping into 3 different categories. So a couple categories, so maybe home, and then clothes or something like that, just to kind of track it a little bit more. That sounded like a good idea for when I do my overall review at the end of the year. So I may consider that. I don't know, let me know what you think. But I budgeted $375, and I have my planner here because I have a couple of projects around the house that I want to do. So I do want to finish decorating my apartment. Let me find my little note here. Okay. So I do want to finish decorating my apartment, and so I want to get some wall art. I also want to get like a cast iron skillet or a Dutch oven, just to kind of help with meal prepping. And then I also want to set up a balcony garden, or a garden on my balcony where I grow a couple of things like some herbs, some fresh, I was gonna say some fresh fruits, as if I can grow that many. And I think I honestly probably would only be able to get away with growing like strawberries and maybe like some blueberries. I don't know. It's all gonna be experimental. And then I need to get a raised bed for my balcony. And then I also need to get the soil. I have some seeds, but I wanna get a couple more. So I think overall, if I'm trying to be optimistic and not go over budget or have like a hefty budget for it, I put $375, but we shall see. Obviously the goal is to come in way under, but I feel like I would feel a lot less convicted and less overwhelmed if I came in under with such a high budget compared to if I try to like say, oh, $200 for everything, and then I go over and I'm like at $250. And so yeah, for travel, we're looking at $400, and that's because I still need to book a hotel or Airbnb for Miami for the World Cup. And then I'm either going to be doing that in April, or I may try to plan like a little road trip somewhere to use up some of these hotel points and perks that I have for my credit cards. And then for coffee, we're still budgeting $20. Oh, I skipped one. Self-care and maintenance. So I still want to get a massage, and of course I'm gonna get my monthly facial. So I think I should be able to get both of those under $200. I did skip my membership for the month of April for facials because I had one on my account, so that'll start back up in May. So I'm confident that I can get both for $200. And then for beauty, because we went so crazy last month, I'm only budgeting $30 for beauty. Honestly, I should not need anything. If anything, it should be something minor, like either body wash or soap, and then maybe like a body oil or a lotion, just to kind of keep moisturized. I am running low on those. And then for gifts, I'm budgeting $30. I have a friend that's coming to stay with me for the weekend, and so I think I want to make like a little gift basket for her when she comes. And then for miscellaneous, we're keeping it at $50. I already paid my taxes, so I shouldn't expect any other outrageous miscellaneous items. And so let's move into savings. So for April, I am looking to save $250 across or in each account. So for home, travel, and emergency fund, bringing to a total of $750 for savings. And then for my Roth IRA and my Fidelity brokerage, I am looking to add $250 each, so $500 total. And then, yeah, that's everything for the month of April. I am feeling optimistic. I'm feeling optimistic. That's all I have. So with Q1 coming to an end, I thought it would be really fun if I did like a quick little reflection on where I am in my financial journey and how I feel about it so far. And to be honest, I wasn't feeling very optimistic. I just felt like, not that I was failing necessarily, but I just felt like I wasn't making the progress. And then when I actually decided to crunch some of the numbers for those numerical goals that I had, I could see that I'm making progress. So in January, I shared that one of my financial goals was that I wanted to save an additional $10,000 towards my savings accounts. And so far, I can confidently say I am 13% towards completion. And then for investing, I wanted to save $15,000, and I'm 16% towards that goal. And I guess like overall, maybe it's not that high, I guess like compared to like what other people may do and have what they have going on. But to be honest, like with me moving to a new city and like a more expensive place and things like that, I honestly just was not sure I would be able to keep up with my goals and my savings goals and like be interested in doing it. And instead, I decided to make my goals the driving factor, and then like my lifestyle comes secondary to it. Because honestly, now that I live in like an area that's a little bit high cost of living and living in like in a city, I can definitely agree that city tax is a thing. You definitely pay more living in a major city for things compared to like if you live in a smaller city or you live in a more suburban or rural area. So honestly, I'm happy with my progress. I implemented a budget. I have been budgeting every single month, like I said. I have been having weekly dates, because I don't know if I shared, but in 2025, I was just checking my transactions once a month. And I was just like, well, that's shot. Compared to like now, I'm looking at it weekly, and I have a better idea of like, okay, this is how much I have left that I can spend on groceries. This is how much I have left to spend on beauty or whatever. And just because I don't spend that money, it doesn't mean that I should try to spend it. Honestly, what I do with the money that's left over in my budget, I just prefer to transfer it to savings, or I transfer it to investments instead. Another thing that I decided to do to make savings or investments a little bit more fun and not as like heavy of a transaction is that at the end of each month, I take all of my expenses and put them in the calculator in Excel, a formula to round the purchases up to the nearest dollar, and then whatever that money amount is. So for example, my expenses for January and February, I lined them all up. I rounded them up to the nearest dollar, and it ended up being about like an extra $30 that I was able to put towards savings and investments. And I know it's only $30, but honestly, if I save an extra $30 each month on top of all my other savings, I feel like that's a win. And then one other thing that I felt like was super important that I talk about in this is giving yourself grace. I'm going to be honest, like I felt like I wanted to quit budgeting. I still feel like it sometimes because I'm still seeing so much red and I'm not understanding why. And I understand that I'm seeing red and I do have the money available, but I want to see green and then also see the money that I have left over in other places too, if that makes sense. Like I'm not going over budget where I'm like overspending compared to what I'm making. I just feel like I have a set number that I want to spend, a set number that I want to invest, a set number that I want to save, and then whatever is left over from those, I should invest and save those things too. And then I also feel like it's hard to do a zero-based budget, and so that's why I don't go for that, but it's all a learning experience, and I'm just reminding myself that you're doing better than what you were doing last month or what you were doing last year as far as your spending. So I'm just giving myself grace and just remembering to show up each day. And then one other thing that's been important to me during this journey and that's been very helpful is just being mindful of the content I consume. So I've been very meticulous about watching other YouTubers do their personal finance videos. I watch documentaries about spending money and saving money. I listen to different podcasts about it. I read different books. And I feel like that's kind of just reminded me like why I'm really doing this, and that it's okay that you stumble a little bit along the way while you're learning a new skill. Like, and many people do not budget. So like you're already doing well by having a budget and trying to figure this whole thing out. So just a reminder to give yourself grace, and that it's never too late to start, or you have a million chances to start over as long as you're here. And so I hope this video is like very encouraging to anyone who's still kind of like, I need to budget, I'm struggling with my finances, can I do it? I don't want to do it. Like, you can still do it. Like, you still have time to do it while you're still here. So with that being said, I hope you all found this video very helpful, very encouraging. For me, it's very motivational to keep going. And honestly, I'm very proud of me. I'm very proud of me for not giving up. I'm mostly proud of me for coming in $83 for groceries. But yes, nonetheless, I am proud of me. I hope you found this video helpful. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.